Welcome to Showcase Sunday, everyone. It's a new series I'm going to be doing because I keep getting asked to keep doing mod showcases, and I think we're going to start off with a fantastic one. I have 5 realistic mods that are really going to add some depth and realism to your game, and to save YouTube with the demonetization, they're actually pretty brutal mods. But we're gonna show them off now. So let's get into our first mod. Okay, so the first mod is actually just a lovely quality of life mod. The actual first 2 mods are lovely quality of life mods. So I'm going to show these off now. So, what you might notice is sometimes, you want to grab enemies here, but you couldn't before. You couldn't grab them here. You can only grab the arms, the shoulders, the head, the neck, and the legs. But now, if I grab the head, I can also grab the hip. By the way, this mod is called Grab the Hip. And we can launch enemies like that properly, which is so cool. We can finally pick enemies up by the hips, which that was kind of disturbing. Yeah, let's not pick them up, but let's definitely not pick them up this way. That would look, yeah, that looks kind of mad. So we're gonna throw him away. Oh, but yeah, you can see it's gonna be really useful for kind of like, pulling people up, knocking them down, and finishing them off. You can do some pretty crazy stuff. And, if you want to reenact your fantasies, I'm sure you can do that too. Not going to do that on YouTube, but you can do that. So, yeah. It's a pretty useful mod. And we can do things like this with this mod now. So if we grab the hip, I'm going to bring him over here. In the past, it would have been kind of annoying to throw him off the bridge, but now we can just kind of, woo, straight into the water. So yeah, it's a really, really useful mod. I really like it. I think it's very, very good. And rolling straight into the second mod, we have Grab the Special area. I can't take this seriously, but yes, you can now grab someone right there, which I'm sure is the most terrifying place for a man to be grabbed. Yeah, it definitely does the job. So you can just grab and flip them now, I think, if you have the Lift Anywhere mod. It's kind of funny. So you can just be like, alright, you're gonna listen to me? You're gonna listen to me now? And they'll definitely listen if you've got them grabbed there. So, I mean, not just that, it's just kind of useful for, like, being able to throw people. This looks really weird. Like, this just looks really odd. And I'm not sure how to feel about it. But it's a useful mod for throwing enemies, just like Grab the Hip. So those mods are both made by Meme Man, and I definitely think you should check those out, because they're really useful. They just add a lot of depth, when you're in combat, and you just think, hey, this guy's becoming dangerous. Grab him by the nards, and he can't do anything. Alright, let's just move on to the next one. Okay, so the next mod I want to show off is Blood Overhaul 2. Now, one thing you really need to know about this mod is it is a U10 mod. So, to make it work for U11, I'll tell you exactly how to do that. Okay, so to change this mod from U10 to U11, all you need to do is go into the mod folder, find the text file called Manifest, go inside of that, there'll be a line called Game Version, and it will have 10.0 after it. Remove 10.0 and set it to 0.11.0.0, and your mod will now work. Save that, and you can use it. Now, what does this mod do? Well, if you dismember someone, like that, it sprays blood out like that, like some over-the-top kind of brutal, old-fashioned movie or anime. It's very, very anime. And you can do it with the head, and it works with basically any kind of way of slicing someone. So you can even get their leg. If I can get their leg off like that, it does the same thing. So I think it's a really cool mod for cinematic kind of stuff. If you go in slow-mo, cut their head off, you can see it all spraying out. It's kind of insane. While this is less realistic, it's more fun. And I highly, highly recommend it. So that is how you get that mod. That's the mod everyone's been asking me how to get on every single video I post for the last 2 weeks. So enjoy! And we'll move on to the next mod. So our next mod is called Headbreaker. Now, this mod is a whole lot of fun. So what we're going to need is some kind of blunt weapon, and it looks like he's supplied us with just that. Let's see if we can grab that off his back, which I'm going to definitely not be able to do now. There we go. And we're just going to bash his head in. There we go. And it leaves like skull parts and brains and all that kind of stuff. It's just really cool. It adds so much depth to being able to use blunt weapons. It makes blunt weapons way more fun in my opinion. Because blunt weapons I'll be honest, not really my thing. But when you add the Headbreaker mod, helmet's no longer a problem. I really like it. You can also just, if you don't really feel like using the blunt weapons there, you can just get them and bash them into a wall until their head blows up. Like that. So one thing I love about Headbreaker is the way it works in slow motion is just so good. If you go into slow motion, just bash them into the wall. If you can actually land the head on the wall, their head is very likely to just blow up. It's kind of crazy. And it pairs perfectly with the Blood Overhaul mod, because you get all the spray and blood, and it's really cool. Look at that, whoa! So, I think with that, I'm going to try some crazy stuff here. So, obviously with Headbreaker, the harder you hit the head, the quicker it's going to blow up. So if I spawn in some pretty heavy weapons, be quiet. You two, be quiet. So if I get myself something like this... It's incredible. You get all the blood mist and all the skull explosions and everything. And this guy has a mushroom on his hip. Give me that. I didn't mean to grab your hip, I just want the mushroom. I want the... Yeah. Nom nom nom. Oh, it broke my hand. The mushrooms break your hand, guys. Alright, you broke my hand, you don't deserve to live. God, it's so good. And I think with that we'll move on to our last mod, which is actually my favourite of the lot. And our last mod is Slice Enemies in Half. Now, I'm not actually sure that's what it's called. It's called something like Slice in Half or something like that. But you get the picture, I'll link it in the description anyway. So this is also made by Meme Man, which quite a few of these mods on this list are. So, what a guy. Let's get into what this can do. I think it's self-explanatory. It slices enemies in half. Let's try and get this. So it cuts about right here. Just like that. And it adds like half dismemberment, if that makes sense. So what I really like about it is you can throw an enemy down, and with an executioner's axe you can just slash down on their body and it'll split in half. Now I don't recommend using dismemberment mods with this, as you'll just be slicing enemies in half over and over and over all the time, and you don't really want that. Like if you hit them up here, they'll slice in half. It's going to get ridiculous. So you can actually adjust in the file settings kind of how easy you want it to be, and yeah, I think that's really cool. I really enjoy the fact that you can just slice enemies in half now, whereas before we only had this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. Now we got this. That was her hand. This. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty insane. I really like it. I think it really adds a lot to the realism of the game, and being able to slice enemies in half with big weapons. I'll try and give an example now of why it's so cool. So if I got the Bardiche, which is a proper executioner's axe, and I threw an enemy to the ground, if I cut this guy right in the middle, and he splits in half, does that not look incredible? Do you know what I mean? I mean, some might think it looked kind of messed up, but it is kind of messed up, but that's what we are, right? The Blade and Sorcery community is kind of messed up, and I think that is perfectly fine when it comes to Blade and Sorcery. So yeah. Anyway guys, thanks so much for joining me in this mod showcase. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video in a bit.